Baal worship is rising in America, and most people don't even know it. There's two forms of Baal worship, and every year America participates more and more in them. This is evil in the sight of God. Judges 2:11. Then the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served the Baals. We'll look at how America is turning more towards these two forms of Baal worship, but first let's look at who is Baal. Baal was the supreme god of Canaan and Phoenicia, whose worship infiltrated Jewish religious life during the Judges and became popular in Israel during Ahab's reign. Baal means Lord and was believed to be a fertility god who helped the earth produce crops and people have children. The first form of Baal worship that's definitely rising in America that we'll look at is sexual depravity. One terrible form of this that we're seeing rise that I can't really dive into, but this article sums up the gist of it, is on USA Today. From Balenciaga to Disney, companies profit by sexualizing kids. Another terrible, horrific outcome of this growing sexual freedom that's been rising in America is the attempt to legalize sexualization of kids, acting as if this is some type of sexual preference when truly this is actually an incredible evil. There's a strong warning against this in the Gospels, and one in Luke 17 verse 2 says, "It would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea than that he should offend one of these little ones." Another form of this sexual freedom in America that's truly a type of Baal worship is sadly the decline of marriage in the United States. Since the 21st century, marriage has been declining in the US, with its lowest level in 2019 with 6 marriages per 1,000 population. This growing trend of you don't need to be in a real relationship, you don't need to be married, or even man and wife being married has continually been growing. And again, just like with the worship of Baal, this sexual liberation that they believe is what they're living has been tied all the way back to Baal worship since the beginning of time, and is not the way God intended, and probably one main reason why we're seeing America's vast decline in so many ways. A very clear evidence of Baal worship or referencing Baal in America is when in the last decade they put up an arch to Baal on 2 different occasions. One time in New York, they put up this arch to Baal. It was destroyed by ISIS. This was in 2015. And then in 2018, a replica to this arch of Baal, or a temple that was for Baal, was raised once again at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. This really made me wonder if this Burning Man event that we see in Black Rock City, Nevada, America, if this is a replica event of a Baal ceremony.
It started nearly 40 years ago, June 1986, as a small ritual on Baker Beach in San Francisco with just 20 guests. They burned an 8-foot-tall effigy, the Burning Man. 5 years later, 1991, it was moved to its current location, Black Rock City in northwest Nevada. By the year 2000, the crowd had grown to more than 25,000 campers, and the Burning Man had grown to more than 50 feet tall. In 2014, a 105-foot-tall effigy was burned, the tallest ever. That year's event drew nearly 66,000 campers. Tragedy struck in 2017, though. A 41-year-old man threw himself into the flames of the burning monument. He died a day later.
Every year, over 100,000 people go to this Burning Man event, and truly the intention of it is really to go there and have sexual relations with people, to partake in drugs and alcohol, really all forms of depravity, and at the end they burn a massive wooden idol, which is really connected to the next form of Baal worship rising in America. First, I have to mention it's extremely important to have nothing to do with Baals. God warned us of this in many verses. One is in Hosea 13:1. When Ephraim spoke, people trembled. He was exalted in Israel, but he became guilty of Baal worship and died. The other main form of Baal worship besides sexual immorality is sacrificing children. Jeremiah 19:5. They have also built the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings to Baal, which I did not command or speak, nor did it come into my mind. Sadly, abortion, which is child sacrifice, has been on the rise in America since its legalization began. Over 63 million abortions have occurred in the United States since Roe v. Wade decision in 1973. America saw more than 100,000 abortions each year between 1975 and 2012. we can see that it's absolutely connected to evil and sacrifice by the Satanic Temple, now promoting abortion as a form of worship. How the Satanic Temple is using abortion rituals to claim religious liberty against the Texas heartbeat bill. Another video I made recently referenced that Cosmopolitan, the #1 magazine for influencing young women in America, made 3 posts recently supporting satanic abortion rituals, taking this pill and actually performing a satanic ritual when you take this abortion pill. Clearly, this is tied to evil. Nothing satanic is good. And again, it's really tied to a main form of Baal worship. 1 Timothy 4:1 tells us, "Now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons." Following Baal, this false god and his evil ways, is a doctrine of demons, deceiving spirits. It's a form of evil, and it needs to be absolutely having no part in anybody's life. Romans 11:4 says, "And what was God's answer to him? I have reserved for myself 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to Baal." Baal is sometimes a reference to multiple false gods, and we're seeing this type of rise of false god worship in America. Sadly, it's on the increase. This article from last year says why paganism and witchcraft are making a comeback. Another recent article from 2018, the explosive growth of witches, Wiccans, and pagans in the United States. And from 2021, we're in the middle of a witch moment. Hip witchcraft is on the rise in the United States. Recently, a satanic statue and altar was put up in the Iowa State Capitol. But what was nice to see is that a Navy vet actually went in and beheaded the statue and destroyed the altar.
A satanic holiday display at the state capitol has been vandalized after receiving pushback from religious Iowans and the governor. This is the shrine earlier this week before it was vandalized. Capitol Police say the statue of Baphomet, the goat-headed figure that you see in these videos, was damaged earlier today. They add a Mississippi man has been charged with 4th-degree criminal mischief for the incident. Governor Kim Reynolds has called for residents to pray for the state in response to the display.
America needs to decide if they're going to follow after their lusts and their sinful ways and follow after Baal, or if they're going to follow God. This is perfectly summed up for us in 1 Kings 18:21. And Elijah came to all the people and said, "How long will you falter between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him." But the people answered him not a word. After all the amazing things that the Lord God and his Son Jesus Christ have done for me and my life, I know that for me and my house, we will serve the Lord God of the Bible. I hope and pray that you will make the same decision. I hope and pray you are well. Thanks for watching, and God bless.